show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight, you know the woes, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Are you paying attention? Because you're going to have to be in the game. You can't let the parade keep going by because your life depends on this economic situation, your financial situation. If you go to zero, there will be no way out. Nobody's coming to save you. And speaking of that, welcome and come along for the ride. We need you to engage tonight. Stop struggling now gear since I'm not wearing it. Nobody's coming to save you. Hoodie, shirts, check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. Looking for information. It's valuable. What do you have to do now? You have to pay attention because this situation that's going to happen over the next 1 year, 7 months, you need to be particular. Using your financial dollars to make more financial dollars. You cannot be buying liabilities. Therefore, those of you who have already invested in, you know what, stocks, you received dividends every Friday. How do you receive dividends every Friday? Well, stay tuned during this live stream and get your pen, pads, and papers ready because you guys are going to be ready. Making sure whoever watches the videos here from Stop Struggling Now that you guys will have the tools to be ready long into the future. Because one golden rule that you should write down at the top, you should easily just pay attention to what the wealthy are doing as a group, and you should be investing in those same areas. So when a lot of wealthy people say stock market and the numbers don't lie, the top 10% of the wealthiest own 93% of the stock market. And if they own 93% of the stock market and the rest of us are part of the 7%, so that means 90% of people that's left are in the stock market potentially. So when you have that type of number, you know there's going to be manipulation. You know there's going to be ways that these guys can always stay on top. You know they're not going to lose. You should be riding right along on the rails, on their coattails. And by doing that, you can also make yourself wealthy by default. You have to study a little bit, maybe, or not. Because again, if we're talking about stocks, let me know if you have a few you want to discuss, but let's just stay with the simple ones. We've always talked about Vanguard, VOO. These are ETFs from Vanguard. VOO, VTI, VTG, VGT. Those are some of the first three that we can talk about with ETFs. Also, SCHD. Don't think about that as well. Don't forget that one. That is very nice. Those right there can help you because you're just following what the big boys do. The BlackRocks, the Apples, the Nvidias, the Magnificent Seven, the Googles, the Amazons, the Teslas, the Magnificent Seven. You just are involved with blue chip stocks by investing in the total market. Now, S&P 500, QQQ, SPY, those are ETFs. You should attend to paying attention to those because the rocket ship ride, all it takes for the rocket ship ride to start, that's gonna jump, is if Jerome Powell comes out and says, we are going to reduce federal funds rate. What the rich guys want, once that happens, they start doing the unthinkable. Corporations start buying back their stock, so that increases the value of their stock automatically, and that's why you should be buying as well. These are all the little traits that you can use because welcome to the Financial Friday Night live stream here in the SSN Nation. If you have any comments, I can't see them at the moment. Make sure you make comments down below. I will have some things lit up here for you. And once again, welcome this Friday, and I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much. Now, down below in the description box, no matter where you're watching from, where you're listening, whether it's on the podcast, YouTube's, whether it's on Twitch, Instagram, it does not matter, wherever you're listening around the world. Thank you so much for that. I greatly appreciate it because you can be anywhere this Friday. I'm talking about there's NBA games on this Friday and they've started. There's also other venues that you could be at. You could be at the Kendrick Lamar concert. It does not matter. You have a lot of places you can be. You could be out having plans for dinner tonight, date night or something. So once again, I just want to thank you so much for being in the house. And we're doing the salsa dance, by the way. Today was a nice little rocket ship ride on the stock market. Today was another good day that you should consider some gold and silver. That's right, because any dips, any drops, you need to pick that up because the rocket ship ride. Now, let me get back on screen. That did say 10, and I actually meant to hit comments, and I can't get to the comment section. There we go. Post-retirement travel. He's an investor just in the stock market? No. Just in real estate? No. But working to make sure you have streams of revenue? Yes. And therefore, he's passed the wealth test already. And he is Mr. Worldwide. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night live stream. He brings his tagline, hello all, let's do this. That's right. That's what we do here. We try to help you for your future. You need to plan because like I always say, if you want to stand by on the sidewalk as we're drumming, as we're jamming, we're doing our floats in the parade, we're doing the damn parade, and you want to sit there and do this, fine. But don't let that parade go by and you got to go walking off or picking up all the litter and garbage that was left behind and you get nothing. Therefore, thank you for your attendance. Thank you for buying tickets, but you will not be getting any passive income or streams of income coming in, nor any increase in the value of anything that you have purchased, unless it's collectibles, of course. But stocks that rise, you miss out on free money. Now, do I have your attention? Post-retirement travel, he says market is hot. Job report today was better than expected. This is very, very true. I just want to caution everybody. I like the better than expected, but we know what's going to happen. Just like under Biden, just like under Trump, they're going to come back 3 weeks and make a soft announcement that we had to reduce 50 to 60 to 70,000 jobs. They'll make a rearrangement of the numbers. But nonetheless, we don't care because we are in the parade buying stocks. we are very happy to see a blip any day of the week. And by the way, it's been more than a week now. Enough sessions. The rocket ship is riding, and yet jobless claims, first time this number has happened in the first quarter. Now, so it's very interesting that today it goes up because of the jobs report. Something is not all kosher in the financial industry called stock investing. There's nothing that has happened other than tariffs have happened, disarray in the economy. The supply chains are all off and messed up now. And down the pike, it's going to be treacherous road. But yet, the stock market says, I'm going to single out the job report. We don't care about these other bad things that are happening, like containers are coming to America empty and things of this nature by boat. No, we're not going to talk about any of that. We're going to talk about jobs report and those blue chip companies that had good earnings. That's right. We're not going to talk about inflation. We're not going to talk about tariffs. We're not going to talk about supply chains. We're not going to talk about the jobless numbers. We're just going to say, because there was a great job report, which we can't verify, now we're going to skyrocket. And we've been skyrocketing with those in place and with no tariff deals. So imagine what happens when there are actually a real trade deal. Can you guys imagine? And you're going to sit on the sidelines and let the economy explode without you and let the rich guys get richer without you? I'm telling you, after 5 years have went by, I told you now, it's 1 year, 7 months, that you need to make sure that you do not let this parade go by, because I am telling everybody the upper middle class is going to be wiped out after this next situation. And if you think you can't afford things right now, or if you think things are getting kind of hectic, wait till corporations start saying things are getting kind of hectic for us. So either we have to reduce wages, lay you off, and at the same time, we have to increase prices 20, 30%, 50% more. That is going to be problematic. You have 1 year, 7 months. That's my estimation. And by the way, I just talked with my cousin. I see you. Thank you so much, man. I love you. Thank you for always listening. All right, down in Jacksonville. All right, here we go. I had to remind him just the other day about all the chaos. And I told him, remember 5 years ago when I was telling people that you have 5 years? Here we are. And now you have 1 year, 7 months, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're on point. Pay attention. All right, EV Place, another investor is here. He's not taking this lightly. He's buying them stocks. He's getting some real estate and offshore real estate that we've talked about for the last 5 years. Offshore real estate's going to slow down. So what's going to happen for those offshore people? We'll talk about that in a second. EV Place, welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. Very happy to see you once again. Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a great week. I've had a great week. Did you not? We exclamation point today. Ding, 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 ding. Dividends. Then stock market rocket ship ride. Again, 10 days ago when we were all giddy. 10 to 15 days ago when the stock market was dropping 5% here every 3, 4, 5 days, another 2 or 3%. And we were all laughing and giddy and saying buy more. And now I just looked at VOO today and I could have sworn I saw 520 something. Do you guys understand? It went down to 400, below 475 during the time of this dip. And if you would have had VOO at those prices, you would have already gained $50 per share. Not $1, not $3, not $4. But see, this is why the wealthy guys win, because they were buying VOO. So you can imagine somebody that just bought 100 shares of VOO. Yeah, it would have cost you, $4,750. Okay, fine. But the fact of the matter is, those 100 shares would now be $5,250. That's $750. And then you have to do anything less than 2 weeks. And by the way, yeah, you could sell it too if you wanted to. But imagine the rich guys who bought 1,000 shares, who bought 1,000,000 shares, and it went up $50 per share. Now, do you understand? If you're not in the game and don't have the money in the game, how are you going to accumulate? You have to buy a little bit at a time for most OCs. That's ordinary citizens. That's you, Eric. Check it out. Oh, I forgot to check my statistics today. Thank you so much for mentioning that. I forgot to do that because I was going to do that every Friday. And Friday night is story night. And by the way, speaking of story night, the story continues. Eric, I've checked my statistics today. Plus 10% monthly on YieldMax products. Salsa dance. Oh, yes, this is what I like to hear. Oh, and by the way, how do we like PLTY, increasing in value? I'm just like, this is incredible. MSTY, increasing in value. And what's the other ones? There's a bunch, actually. A bunch. The one you talked about on Wednesday night, EV Place, CVNY, increasing as well. I mean, I'm sitting here going, these things, if they stabilize like this, and imagine this, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's real right now. There are YieldMax ETFs that are giving 50%, 40%, 70% distribution, and the stock price is staying stable. That is incredible. If it can stay stable, this is one of the things that it hasn't happened. But what could happen is stay stable on a rocket ship ride, meaning the stock price of a YieldMax ETF goes up. Because you bought at cheap prices, you get that 60, 70% return or more, because there's some that's more. I don't like talking about more. It's just crazy when you hear these numbers, annual return of 50% or 40%. And when somebody goes 75%, you're like higher, and you're like, come on, man. If you can pick those stocks that can stay close to the buy price and you're receiving dividends every month or every week, if we go off to a rocket ship, all I could say is, we've been telling you about this. How long has it been, post-retirement travel? 2 years, 3, 4 months ago is when it was first announced about YieldMax ETFs. And then I didn't really talk about it too much for about 4 to 5 months. And then it was around May or June of 2023 where I said, guys, this YieldMax ETF is working, post-retirement travel, and Brian P., Mr. Dividend, we're already on it. But then we really started talking about it for over now almost a year. Almost 2 years coming up now. So we've actually been on the road for 2.5 years for some of these YieldMax ETF funds. So you wouldn't have missed out on these incredible returns that you could have been a part of. That's all I can say right now, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we can say. Exactly. That's why I say to buy a cup of coffee daily. That's it, exactly. Buy a cup of coffee daily of stocks, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I went up to we went up to Starbucks, and I think they had these large. I mean, they had 3, 4 different sizes, and then I was like, $10, $9 for coffee. I was like, that's stocks you could be buying, ladies and gentlemen. And there are people that go to Starbucks not 1 time a week, not 2, not 3, but 4 or 5 times a week. It adds up, ladies and gentlemen, faster than you can think. Imagine this. Imagine you bought $50 worth of stocks. And 2 weeks ago, when it was low. And then you wake up today and that $50, because things went up 20%, is now 60. And then think about, wait a minute, if I would have had 5,000, it would have been 6,000. If I would have had 50,000, that would be 60,000. If I had 500,000, that would be 600,000. Now you see why the wealthy keep investing, keep putting money in, because stop buying liabilities, ladies and gentlemen. Them days are over. Right now, make a commitment to yourself. No more liabilities. No more. If it doesn't give you a return of some sort, don't buy it. Don't buy it unless, of course, it's, you got to buy food, which that helps your nutrition. But I mean liabilities, credit card debt, get it down. Don't play. It's over in 1 year, 7 months. We need your credit to be 775. That's where I need you guys to try to get to. That's the goal. For 1 year, 7 months, try to get the goal. You have a year and over a year and a half. Try and get your credit liabilities reduced, your credit reduced, so you'll have credit ready. You don't have to get your credit down to zero. You just got to get it down to everything is 10% or less. That's it. All right? Because otherwise they'll shut your cards off if there's a crunch in credit. But nonetheless, we need you at 775, because when things hit the fan, we always have moves for you. And I'll be checking out in my retirement, and I'll be giving you guys a directive at that point, because it's going to be one hell of a ride. All right, EV plays. Here he goes. He's talking about that CVNY increase in value over the 7% dividend. Exactly. I went to go look at CVNY. I don't understand what is happening. I don't get it. CVNY over the last, I think it's only been out, 3 to 6 months? I think it was 3 or 4 months. I just looked at it today. And I was like, it did drop. But if you go I can't remember what it was, but if you go from inception to now, it's almost a little, I'll take 2 or 3% drop, or 1% if I can get 7% a month. Are you kidding me right now? If somebody said, okay, Eric, this ETF's going to drop 3% per month, but we're going to give you 7% a month in dividends, I'm going to say, okay, so that's a difference of 3. So you're going to give me 36% value wise. I said, okay, fine. I'm just rebuying the stock anyhow. So that means my dollar cost average comes down a little bit. So, okay, I'll deal with this. I'll still take that 30 to 45%, no problem. But if it stabilizes, oh my God, PLTY, pretty okay. Exactly, Tamara Larry, another investor is here. Now, she's trying to do and doing the damn thing. The offshore investing, ladies and gentlemen. Do what the big boys do. Don't let the parade go by. Don't fall asleep. Everybody's going to be sleeping but you. And welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday night live stream. That offshore is powerful. Why do you think all the corporations keep their offshore money outside of the United States? Just saying. Just saying. Just keep it up. PLTY went from 55. I think it's up to 67 right now. After this next CP, again, Palantir, because it's one of those stocks like Nvidia and things like that. It's highly rated. If there is a boom, they're gonna boom. That means PLTY apparently is booming along with it under YieldMax ETF. It's incredible. The stock price has increased. And right now, I think it's increased about 15 to 20%. So it's crazy. It's real crazy. And guess what your return is? I don't know, quite frankly. I think it's over 50% distribution for your dividends. I'll take that. I'll take that. PLTY, pretty okay. Exactly. We're going to give it the thumbs up. Here comes another one. MSTY, plus 22% in value. This is one of my favorites. Again, you guys had every opportunity. Dollar cost average could have been around $19 a share. It could have been $19.50 a share. And when it goes up to 22 and 23, now we're talking about the 20%. That's how it happened. So your stock price goes up 20%, and they're giving out dividends of over, oh my God, I'm just going to say over 70%. So that way people who watch this can go now look it up and be like, no freaking way. I will take stable or a little appreciation in the stock price if you're going to give me 70% returns. I'll take that all day, every day. And imagine if this continues. And guess what? I believe it will continue on a rocket ship ride because people will be doing option trading. It's a beautiful thing. It's a lovely thing when OCs can win. Just a little bit will do you, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're talking about here. Thank you so much, EV Place, for mentioning that. PLTY, there it is, 16% in 6 weeks. There you go. Exactly. EV Place knows. See, this is what I like about EV Place. He throws down the stats. See, this is why I say math does not lie. I look at things mathematically. So I start going, okay, does it make sense mathematically? That's the poker player in me, right? And so I sit there and say, why am I buying at a higher dollar cost average? What does that give me back? Right? Can I live with the return that I'm still going to get at this higher price? Because there's other places you can go. I'm loving PLTY, but I'm having a hard time to buy more when your dollar cost average is around $55. And now the stock is trading at 63 or 65, whatever it's up to, or 67. It's crazy, but you got to love it. So we get appreciation. And then when we get the dividends, the free money from the dividends, that's the way I look at it, reinvest in the higher price. That's fine to me. I'd rather it go that way than me take my part of the duffel bag of cash and throw some in. I want to pick the ones where I am below, but I still believe there's a value there. Sometimes when the rocket ship starts, we can't figure that out. We have to just go with it. We have to go, okay, we got to keep continuing to buy. So PLTY, I've been holding up, waiting for a dip, and sadly, it didn't dip. It just kept rising. I'm like, oh my God, I can't get back in. I mean, I can always buy more, but I like my 55 or so dollar cost average. I just like, I don't want to go into the 60s, but the rate of return, even right now, is over 70% for dividends. So really, is it a high risk? I don't think so. So what I determined today, I said, okay, let's see what happens next week. And next week, if there's any dip whatsoever, we have to get some more because that PLTY gives out dividends at a crazy amount. I mean, I think last time it was $5 a share or $4. I can't even remember. It was something crazy. Brian P., Mr. Dividend is here, the man of the hour that I was just speaking about 2.5 years ago, who came and said, hey, have you heard about Max ETF? I was like, yeah. And also, Mr. Worldwide doing the same thing. Hey, yeah, I heard about Max ETF. I've been checking it out. I'm doing option income trading. I'm learning. I'm doing it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's new. That's different. That's weird. We'll find out how it's going to rock and roll 6 months, 4 months, 5 months later. Finally, I started looking at it again. And then from that point on, it's been 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. So don't say you guys didn't have a chance. 2 years from now, I'll reiterate 1.7. 1 year, 7 months from now. And welcome, Brian P., to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And his tagline, Happy Day, Eric. Thank you so much. Happy day for you. I hope all is well with you. Yes. Happy day, SSN fam. Smash that like button. Thank you so much for mentioning that, Brian P. I appreciate that. Everybody, give it a 1 piece. That's right. Don't be shy. It's free to give a 1 piece up in here. Show some love. We got paid today. You're damn right. Especially when you know there's dividends that pay out every Friday. We've always said it all the time. We talk about it. Why MAG? Why Max? Okay. YMAG. These are Max ETFs. YMAX. ULTY, which, by the way, it stabilized a little bit, hanging in the $5 range, but my God, ladies and gentlemen, how can you miss out on 30 to 40% return? Annually, I'm talking about annually, not monthly or anything or weekly, annually, or higher at this price point. This is crazy right now. That's weekly. IWMY, that's weekly. I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch more. I just can't remember all of them. All right. Now, it gets crazy when you're trying to remember off the top of your head all of these stocks and stock symbols that we're talking about. But we got paid today. Everybody's doing the salsa dance. It's nothing but a bing, 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 bing. And we're sitting there like, I got 12 or so, 12 bings before close. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some more. We are making money in here. That's what we do. And you're going to have to, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have some streams of revenue coming in. And oh, by the way, Brian P., Mr. Worldwide, Post-Retirement Travel, these guys have enough in their accounts, because I have to admit, at this point in time, you're going to have to preserve some of your wealth, because you have 1 year, 7 months. You can't go on the roller coaster taking out everything, right? Or reinvesting everything. All right. That's what I should say. You can't reinvest everything. You need to get to a point where you feel comfortable. And then you say, you know what? You do the Mr. Worldwide or Mr. Dividend. You just say, okay, like Mr. Worldwide says, I'm going to do 20%. I'm going to take 20% of my dividends, my dividend cash, 20%. I'm going to go reinvest it or redistribute it in another direction. Nothing wrong with that. I have to agree with this. Once you reach a certain point where you say something like, oh, I like having $500 a month coming in, or I like 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000. Well, at that point, you might want to redirect into lower risk, but it still gives you a return. That's where you stabilize in case all of a sudden one day you wake up and they say, hey, the economy's just, went in depression mode and Black Friday mode and lost 30% of the value today. And it's not coming back. And it dropped another 10. That's what you have to be worried about. When you start talking about spending money, which is what the United States is doing, when you start saying we're going to spend money and you don't have the money, you have to borrow the money, you have to print money. That's inflationary. When you print additional money, you add money into the money supply. That means you're devaluing the currency. That means everything's going to cost more. There is what you would call a no return status. That means one day you can't pay your notes. Your credit ratings go down for the country, which now means Jerome Powell and those guys doing any rate cuts and putting bonds out for the treasuries and printing money out of the bond money, but not being able to pay back the debt. That is going to be a problem. I thought I would never see this in my lifetime. I thought I was going to be long, long gone. But since I'm going to be here, we're going to shoot and we're going to hit the bullseye. And you guys, I may not go out into retirement after all, because I want to see this ride. I want to see this happen. I want to just see what's going to happen, quite frankly. I think I know what's going to happen. It's going to be very, very bad for a few. Well, no, 2/3 of the population is going to be very, very bad. And then by default, the 1/3 of the population, it's going to be very, very bad, because 2/3 are going to be looking for the top 1/3 possessions, bank accounts, money, safes, guns, weapons. That's what they're going to be looking like. So that's why I suggest you have something offshore. All right. I've made more from dividend than my predicted retirement in 20 years. That's what I'm talking about, EV Plays. Congratulations, man. This is what I like to hear. This just makes tears come to my eyes, because I love to hear this success type of stories when EV Plays understands his retirement may not even be there. Can you guys, people can't even fathom this, right? Some people can. Those people who got laid off, like from a Sears or a manufacturing facility that they worked, like Campbell Soups or something, and then they get word that, hey, by the way, we spent your pension money. It can't pay out. The teacher's pension can't pay out. Intel pension can't pay out, right? This has already happened. But imagine if it was an epidemic, if it wasn't just a few, but all of a sudden hundreds of corporations, hundreds of pensions from every state is a problem and can't be paid out. Where does that leave you? You better have your own solo 401k. Highly suggested. We've talked about this before. You can search the channel. Also, go to Schwab. Formerly, I always loved TD Ameritrade. I swear I love their software, their website, how it was It was relatively easy. It would tell you how to start a 401k. It would tell you how to implement your business 401k. So that way, all of you smart people out there would have a company, you have a 401k under your company name. And since you are the company, you make the agreement. I'm going to do a 3 to 5% match on anybody that joins our 401k that are employees. So what's wrong with being the employee of your company? Okay, you got to pay taxes, but you can get some of those taxes waived when you put money in a 401k annually. Who says you have to pay yourself more than 20 G's? Just saying. All right, I know it's crazy. When you're in the wealth game, you can do all kind of shenanigans legally. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Brian P says, smash that like button, which I've already said. He's already said, I'll smash it. Well, again, a one piece. It's free. I got the notification and he saw the video. This is great, great, great news right there. I love to hear this because, you know, we haven't been getting much love from the YouTube gods, but it's all right. We don't need love from the YouTube gods. You know why? Because anybody that gets this message, you guys already have been getting much love by actually doing something. If you don't like the drops on Yield Max, then choose those with a high SEC ratio. There you go. There's another tip that you can get now, ladies and gentlemen. Post-retirement travel, EV place, be careful with taxes. I got hammered this year for last year's taxes. High yield dividends was a big part of me getting it. What I am doing now is sending additional quarterly funds to the IRS. See, post-retirement travel, he's one of these guys that is very humble, right? Here's one of the major things. Income levels matter. So if you have two people that make, let's just say, I don't know how much he makes, but let's just guess. Let's just say 6 figures household income. Oh, and what's even worse is let's say if it's like 6 figures, 150 or 130, you're going to get penalized. You're going to be in the upper bracket of the tax code. It's almost like it's better off if you were somehow a multimillionaire, because then you can figure out other ways to do tax write-offs. It's when you're a tweener, when you're doing like 150 to 500, 600 G's, you're getting hit hard. It's like you're a tweener. But as soon as you get into that millionaires, multimillionaire areas, then you can start doing crazy stuff. Hardly even paying taxes, in my opinion. All right. But anyhow, he is exactly right. You do have to be careful because you do have to pay attention. There's a correlation with how much you actually make, like from a W-2 or your pensions and everything adding up. It matters. So here's the thing. I will just say straight out, it's a good problem to have. The only reason I say that is it's because he has real estate income from, because we talked about it just on the last live stream where he has a rental. So he has real estate income from the rental. Then he does short-term rentals and he's in Orlando. So he has a high occupancy rate. And quite frankly, the way they make money at Margaritaville, because of the way their program is, and they have people that's coming to stay and want to stay on their property, they get a nice rental rate. And so if somebody says, okay, our average rental rate is $400 and our occupancy rate is 75, you can start doing numbers. You're going to go, in fact, I'll do numbers right now. I'll do, I don't know what 75% is of 365, but I'll just use this as an example. Let me go pull something up. I'll give you guys, this is a problem, right? You guys might say, well, I want to make more money. Then you go, well, wait a minute, hold on. Let me see what's going on. I need 365. Wait a minute, I got something playing in the background. Why is that doing that? Okay, 365 times 75%. You guys can see, I'm just going to give you an example. This is what you guys are going to learn. That is 273 days per year rental times 400. Okay, guys, look, this is how things get blown up. That's 109,500. We're going to be in search of all the ways to get this down to 40, 50, 60 G's. But at the same time, that adds additional income and puts you in categories for you to pay taxes. And then when you get your option income money from YoMax ETF, dividend income money, all of a sudden it's looked upon, hey, wait a minute, you took money out, you got paid this year. We're going to look at it a certain way. How do you look at it? Okay, well, I didn't borrow against it. So therefore, I didn't do any more margin. So I didn't get a loan. So now I'm going to have to figure out how I'm on the hook for X amount. Now, what tax bracket am I in? And if you're in that freaking 20, 24, now all of a sudden there's no escape. And so that's oftentimes where people were like, wait a minute. But then again, let's just say what it is. 75% you get to keep, and a certain percentage of that you didn't have to pay. So let me explain. So we're sitting here like EV Place is figuring out post-retirement travel for EV Place. Thanks. I'm keeping your story in mind. Exactly. You have to pay, you have to know your overall income matters. Okay. So what I want to point out is this. So think about the heavy lifting. Think about you get this is I don't even like talking about these numbers, but let's just say 75% from YieldMax ETF, Defiance Group, whoever you're getting these exorbitant returns, right? 75% distribution. So somebody says, okay, for me, this is what I say. I say, okay, so you mean to tell me I got to give up 25% of the 75% you gave me, but I'm going to keep roughly 50%, 45% or whatever it is. And they say, yes, Eric. I say, okay, I can live with 45%. I can live with somewhere in that ballpark, right? Because that beats 10% mightily. I'll double the money in 2 years, double and a half in 2 years, because I'll take 90% in 2 years. Where am I going to get that from? So it's all relative when you're actually looking at it. But on paper, you're sitting there going, wait a minute, I got to give these guys like 20 G's. See, that's where the problem comes in. You're like, I got to give these guys 15 G's. Do you know what I can do with 15 G's? It's like, that's what you're thinking. But by rights, it was free money. You invested the right way. Just remember that post-retirement travel, you invested the right way, man. You got a lot of profit coming in. So plus other things. So it makes it why you're going to be hit hard. And a person that only made 50 G's a year, he's going to be hit less. That's just basically how it goes. That's our progressive system, our progressive tax system. But soon as you reach a high, can you believe if you make $10 million, what is it, $10 million? $10 million, you've already maxed out anything that goes into your Social Security. Can you believe this? So now you understand there's a different ball game at a different level. And you got to get, instead of being at the 300, 400, 5,000, 600,000, you got to be in the 10 mil level and higher. And all of a sudden things just start being the rich guy's way. The tax code. Joe Nay, right now, another investor, another person that goes worldwide. And he's sitting over in the DR right now on watching his investment be built up. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. Thank you so much for being here. And he says, good evening, everybody. Good evening to you. How is everybody doing this evening? Hopefully everybody's doing well along with yourself. Thank you so much for being here. I was napping and was awakened by several dividend notifications on my phone. I love it, Joe Day. Yeah, I got 12 of them bad boys earlier today. I was sitting there like, oh my God. And I know some more are coming. This is crazy right now, and I'm loving every freaking bit of it. That's right. I'm loving every bit of it. Yeah, if you don't have CONY, that's another one that I, man, enjoyed. EV Place, but a big winner from the past week is CONY over 8% dividend. Oh my, I haven't even looked at it, man. You're kidding me right now. 8% in 1 month? This is incredible. Again, the rocket ship ride is going to be incredible for all of the option income traders as long as it goes up. Here's the thing I want to caution everybody on these option incomes when the market stays level, so to speak. People generally the calls and puts and the options and the fees and everything, they're not as high, nor is there a lot of people buying, selling, and doing shorts and all that. So when we have this and then this and then this, there's a lot of option monies coming in from fees and premiums and things. So that's why the yield max ETFs, which operate in this space of option income premiums and fees and dividends and all that, that's why you can have these type of dividends for 1 month. People are out here, they would take 8% for the year. If their 401k did that, they'd be happy. You here in the SSN Nation, we can't be satisfied with this because we know inflation is not 3, 4, 5%. We know inflation is double digits. So therefore, it doesn't make any sense to see go hip, hip, hooray if you're getting any return of under 10%. Let's get real. In fact, me and Joe Nay were having a conversation today, and I'll tell you guys about it because it's story night tonight. I just smashed that like button. Thank you so much, Joe Nay. I greatly appreciate it. And we were talking about real estate and the DR. And I'm going to tell you, I was doing some research, and I mentioned it earlier on. Eric, if you were looking for fresh yield max check, I know I checked out Morrow today and I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there like, is this since its inception, it's gone up, it's gone down, but it's relatively stable. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, they're giving out this type of return too. MARO is another yield max ETF that seems to be stable for the last few months as well. It's relatively new. And I was sitting there like, are we kidding us? If the stock price can be stable, if it's minus 3% year over year, I'll take that. It's that simple. TSLY, Musk is going to release Model Q under 15,000. Come on, man. Hold on. I don't know what a Model Q is. Hold on a second. Let's see what's a Model Q. Model Q Tesla. What is that? Is this some small vehicle or what is it? Let me go look it up. I gotta go see. Okay, everybody, down below in the description box, make sure you get your free stocks from Robinhood, Webull, Moomoo, Wealthfront. If you don't want to mess with stocks individually, go down to Wealthfront. That's down below. Put in $500 or more, and they manage your money for zero expenses, no fees. As soon as it gets up to $4,999, then they start charging you their fees to manage your money. But from $500 to $4,999, it's no cost, no expense monies, which is awesome. Here we go. Exactly. Eric, 50% annually from Yield Max is my target after taxes. There you go. That's a beautiful thing, man. And actually, it could get there. Because if they do 6, 7, 8%, if there's somehow some magical way, you know what the magic is? The rocket ship ride will get 6, 7, 8%. So therefore, you're going to be 72 to 96% distribution, and potentially your stock price could stay the same. And then if somebody says, well, depending on your category you're in, if you're in the category of 15%, okay. If you're in the category of 20%, okay. There's a way things happen here. So just keep that in mind. Thank you for mentioning that, because that's how you would get your target of 50. At the rate you're going, some of these things it's incredible what's happening right now. But it all has to do with, again, 3 weeks ago to about 10 days ago, the stock market was going down. Then it would lose 1,000 points. Go back up 400 points. Go back down 300 points. Go back up 1,000 points. Go back down 2,000 points. Go back up 2,000. All of that created so much income from the option income trading market. And that's what Yield Max ETF runs on. Defiance runs on. All right, they have these same things, IWMY, for instance. O, ODTE, WOTE, all those. All right, get ready for some empty shelves next week. I expect that to start happening. Also, I don't know if it'll be next week, but yeah, if it hits next week, that would not be a surprise. And that's where I think another buying scenario could happen. So that's why you can never jump in with your full duffel bag of cash, because there are levers that can happen. And if there's store shelves and it's significant, and then stores start closing on top of it, now all of a sudden you're going to have a small implosion, and we'll be right back to a month ago, where everybody's like, oh man, the stock market just dropped 600 points, 500 points, things like that. So we'll see. In the best scenario, it'll be 80% after 30% tax. Hey man, we wish. We wish. YMAX is over 90% SEC, and it's paying around 4 to 5% monthly, safe in my opinion. Exactly. That's what I like about YMAX. Oh, and also YMAC, the Magnificent Seven, option income from the seven. It's beautiful. I'm loving that they can stay within a range. And as long as the stock market rockets or drops significantly, I'm loving all of this. You got to be in the game, ladies and gentlemen. Just stay in the game. Thank you so much for giving out that info. Once again, EV Place, I love the numbers, man. Keep them coming. That's why everybody, you need a pen, pad, and paper. You never know what's going to be said. All batteries for Tesla Q will be produced in Nevada, over 310 range. Replacement batteries should be 6K. Oh, yeah, let's go look at this. Model Q. Is that a two-seater? It says it releases in June. Yes, it's a two-seater. All right. Okay. But 15,000. Uh, yeah, they've always delayed. Debut in first, yeah, see, they said first half of 2025, sub 30,000. So that was last year's. So I don't know where the 15,000 is coming from. Tesla Car World 2 weeks ago, they say it's anticipated to be sub 30,000 EV. Well, I'm going to put it to you another way. I don't think a $30,000 car is going to make any difference. I'm going to tell you why. You have 80% of the population living paycheck to paycheck. They can't pay for it. That's they're not buying new. You can't buy new cars, and you can't increase your liabilities. So plugging in, causing your electricity to rise if you have a plug-in at your house, that's not going to help you. So the trade-off is I don't have to go get gas. But is it really a trade-off? Because if your electricity is going to go up an extra $100 a month or 75 a month, then how much in gas do you use a month is going to be the question. Now, I know if you live in Cali and have to travel anywhere, it's going to be pretty pricey. But in most other states, what, $3.25 or something for unleaded, $3.95 for premium unleaded. I mean, this isn't $5 and $6 and $4 for unleaded. It's none of that. So there's a huge difference. So it all depends on where you live, I guess. And generally, we know where uh, Teslas are. And I think also that Harm, with his reputation, hasn't helped. All batteries for Tesla Q will be produced in Nevada, 310 range. Yeah, well, they're going to have to do something, quite frankly. Post-retirement travel, two things I would do if I was starting my careers again: opening a 457B with the Army, and then a Roth. That's right, Roth 401k with JP Morgan Chase. I could have been much better now with those retirement accounts. Exactly. Thank you for mentioning that, because the 457B I don't know about myself with the Army, but the Roth 401k. Back in the day, that's another thing. When I used to work And the guys would say, put your money into a 401k. And I'd be like, you mean a Roth? And they'd be like, no, a 401k, no reason to get a Roth. I was like, nah, nah, nah. From what I understand, I'm getting paid. So I'm taking my money to the Roth. So everything I withdraw is free. They would say no in the 80s. They would say, no, don't do a Roth. That's kind of newish something. I'd be like, okay, whatever. I'm not even in your 401k. I don't really care. I'm in my own. So fine. But they used to say that. So just beware. I don't know what corporations and companies are doing now. But if they're telling you you need to get a Roth if you work for somebody else and you have taxable income, you want your money to be taxed. So everything you put in there, you can withdraw tax free. All right. Just remember that. Okay. Joe Nay, protests are getting larger. The untruths are being exposed. You got that right, man. Hey, like I said, you know what's amazing is you have the White House press secretary. This is amazing to me. Arguing, literally saying it. What's wrong with Amazon? They're being unpatriotic by adding on how much the tariffs is costing the American people. I couldn't believe it because obviously there's people that are sitting there thinking, I thought tariffs was made China pay more. There's still people that believe that. And so therefore, now it was like, hold on. I'm sure people watching this is confused. They're just like, wait, what do you mean that Tesla's or Amazon's going to show this? If it's, why are you mad? I mean, so people start thinking who don't understand what tariffs are. All those who understand is laughing. I'm just sitting there laughing like myself, like, that's pretty good. They got balls if they do it. But apparently they don't have balls. You know, Bezos doesn't have balls. Let's just call it what it is. Um, he's not going to do it. And here's my thing. I'm just like, so if I'm the gut, you know why? It's because he doesn't want to be a target. But he still should have some cojones. But the point is, I would have still done it because I'd be like, hey man, you guys, we had to raise this price. It was $25. Now it's going to cost $37.50. We got to pay the extra $12 or whatever it is because they did 25 or 30% tariffs, and I'd have that on every receipt because I would be like reverse. I'd be like, okay, then why don't you cancel the tariffs? Then it won't be on the paper. But of course, we got a whole bunch of soft men out here these days. I guess that's the difference. You acquiesce, then they don't come after you. You go against the BS, they look at you like a target and got to do something. Protests are getting larger. You know what else? I will talk about protests will get larger. I went down to the Social Security office today. You guys know my birthday's on Bastille Day. I was born in France, July 14th. I couldn't log into the Social Security website forever. They would always say my information is incorrect, my error is incorrect. I'm looking at all my stuff and I'm like, this is all correct. Social Security says today, Eric, our system shows your birthday is July 15th. I said, really? I said, no. And so then the lady starts looking through everything. And I said, how's that possible? I've been working ever since I was 16 years old on a W-2. So right then and there, there's just no way. I don't know. She goes, oh, somebody went into our system. I'm like, what do you mean somebody? You mean the government? She goes, somebody went in our system in 1992 and changed the date. I said, oh. I said, okay. Yeah. Me and the government, we had a little problem from around late 80s to the 90s, the early 90s. Oh, yeah, I could imagine. Oh, yeah. Can you believe this? 1992, some government agency went in and changed my birthday. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Knowing that would have a lot to do with a lot of things. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of things. You know, when you go like People check your Social Security. I mean, not Social Security, your credit, things like this. And there would always be this weird, like, oh, yeah, we can only do this because something's weird. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? I didn't know anything about this until this year. They're just like, yeah, 1992. I was like, man, I always wondered why there would always be these weird looks. And I'm sorry, that doesn't look right when I was dealing with the government. Crazy. I couldn't believe what she said. She goes, this is weird. Somebody changed your birth date in 1992. And I'm just sitting there like, somebody? What did you say? Somebody? You're the Social Security Administration. There is no somebody. Elon Musk wasn't around then. What are you saying right now? By the way, can you see who did that? I want to know. Mass production from EV Place. If they will release it under 20K, that's cheaper than used one other brands, but we will see. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, EV Place. I'm saying if they actually released it and it was 15, 20 grand with a 60-month payment, I think that would be, but the question is, what's our recharge times? Are we talking about still like waiting an hour and all that? See, it's going to be one of those things. You're going to have to wait an hour. Are we going to have to buy a 10,000 house battery pack to add on to make sure you don't have to wait an hour at the Tesla charging stations? I mean, see, that's where we're going with this. It's one thing to make it cheap. It's another thing to say, okay, I got a cheap car for you, but now you stand around waiting for a recharge for an hour, hour and a half. That's where all this goes. With the EVs in that situation in America, because they're not going to let the competition in that can recharge in less than 10 minutes, because then it's a wrap for Tesla at that point. But it is what it is. America's weird. That's cheaper than U.S. Used one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not going to buy a used one. You're not going to buy a new one. Tesla is reeling. Yeah, it's weird. Their stock price is going up. You could have bought it at 225. Now it's at 280. It probably even went up even more today. Probably in 285 to 290 range. Even though there's literally, I don't understand. It's like this reverse thing's happening. Less sales in cars, less revenue. I mean, your CEO, MIA. I'm like, nothing makes sense. No robo-taxis after 7 years. No FSD after 7 years. Nothing makes sense. The stock price just went up. I mean, from 225, you could have bought it like 10 days ago to 14 days ago. And now it's at 280, 285 or more. I haven't even looked today. But I mean, that's incredible. And if you have TSLY, as EV Place mentioned earlier, big smile on your face. Remember, I don't have any Tesla. I don't have TSLY. But like I was saying on Wednesday or Monday, I said, I'm probably going to get into TSLY because a Neomax ETFs is producing. And even though I'm not a fan, I will deal in the option income trading side of this. So that's how we're going to do it. Jonay and robots. See, that's my problem. I told you guys on Wednesday, I'm not a fan of trying to tell me a company's a car company, a company's a robot company, and a company's going to be a rocket ship company, which they're not. Not a rocket ship, but you got cars, you got robots, and you have robo taxis. The only thing they actually make is cars. This other stuff is fantasy land because that after 7 years, remember robots were supposed to be out in 2019. Then 2 years ago, oh, it's going to be out in the year, all that. But he keeps getting loans. He keeps getting money. It's crazy. It's real crazy. FYI, Eric, a 457B is the 401k version on the government side. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I've never heard of it, but then again, I was never part of the government team. I wasn't in the military, so I didn't know that's what it was. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I love it. I learn something new every day, as everybody should, ladies and gentlemen. Because if you're going to try and help people, now we know anybody in the government, now I know to call it a 457B, which is a 401k. So everybody in the military, I can start relating saying, hey, you guys, 457B for you in the military. Make sure you guys are putting some money into your 401k. Roth. All right. There you go. Thank you. The tariffs can stop today. Damage has been done. Yeah, but here's the thing. If the tariffs did stop today, oh man, the stock market would go to record highs with Jerome Powell waiting to pounce 2 to 3 months from now to reduce it just a quarter point. And it's going to be off to the races for 1 year, 7 months, which is what the prediction has been all along. Either way, I'm going to be happy. Either way, it's going to happen because, first of all, we can't even pay our interest on our debt right now. Our economy's contracting. So now there's going to be less revenues to pay back our debt. Somebody, the world, is going to start doing something. And that's where the problem's going to come in. You're going to have the world working against you. And you don't want that. Well, it's too late. But the point is, we're going to have a rocket ship ride. And then when that's over, where are you going to be? Are you going to be able to pull out? That's the question, the $1 million question, or put it into something else. That's going to be the $1 million question. If that big, beautiful bill gets passed, and by the way, the tariffs by executive order are not appropriate. Congress, the House, and Senate should be voting for the tariff numbers, by the way. Just so everybody understands, we're doing some things that you probably shouldn't be doing if you think a government by laws and constitution matter. Just saying. Yep. And EV plays correct about robots. Yep. Exactly. I'm not a fan of his robot stuff. It's just talk. When he went to China, he kept his robots in a cage. And that was what, 4 months ago? Meanwhile, the Chinese are putting a show on for whatever they're doing, which I don't know if there's really anything crazy. Post-retirement travel. Eric, just curious. I know you did work, W-2 work for years, but are you now doing self-funding for Social Security? Since you have your businesses, that's definitely a must for those not on W-2. That's exactly right. Yep, that's it, man. You have to put in, that's part of the self-employment, the 15.3%, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. SpaceX hasn't done anything. You're damn right. That NASA hasn't done. Well, they do have them rocket ships that was able to launch, or the boosters to come back down and not have to break out brand new ones. That's kind of sweet. I mean, that's kind of cool. I don't know if NASA was ever doing that, but other than that, yeah, going into orbit, I don't understand what the fascination is with this Blue Origin by Amazon or Bezos and all this. We're going to orbit and putting up satellites. I mean, that's been a thing forever. That's not the thing. The thing is, everybody wants to see when the next spaceship goes outside past the moon, or shall I say to the moon, but basically outside of the Earth's orbit. That's what we want to see. And we haven't seen it in over 50 years or thereabouts. So now that lends to people going, did we really do it? And I got to say something. Has anybody actually seen any of those part of the spaceship module that came back down and landed in the water? Has anybody ever seen one in person? I want to know. Let me know if any of you have seen one in person. All right, Cape Canaveral, anybody? Let me know. Okay, post-retirement travel at Joe Nay, agree with you. We have to be invested now. This rocket is taking off. I am bullish. I am too. Let's go. Option trading premiums with QQQ and SPY are very juicy. Exactly. Passive income on steroids. Exactly. And we have Phil D. Snuts. Oh, I see what you're doing, Phil. Thank you. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. He's got $CEP. You know what that looks like. What is that? Is that Cash App? That could be. I don't know what it is. All right, Phil D. Welcome to the house. All right. Now, I can do that. Okay, cool. Uh-oh. Hold on a second. I got to get back into the game. I lost it. Let's see. I gotta get out of here. All right. Oh, I see what happened. No, I'm not gonna write it. All right. Well, I did something on my screen and I can't figure it out, but it's okay. It's all right. Blessings. All right. Blessings. Game ticker symbol. Pull it up. All right. Unfortunately, I'm on my phone, but okay. CEP. Thank you so much, Phil Snuts. All right. EV Place. There is that crypto virtual protocol I've told you last week. 100% in a week, 200% in last week. I don't remember. I remember you telling us about something we've never heard of. So let me know. And what I'm going to do is I have some pizza here in front of me, so I'm going to eat something. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut off my screen. So I'm going to go to voice mode, podcast mode for about a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, because actually I'm hungry. Because again, messing around with the Social Security office was crazy. All right. Now, let me hear about that virtual protocol again, EV Place. And Phil Snuts, make sure you smash that like button. Give it a one piece, no cost. And if anybody likes anything that we're talking about this evening, please subscribe to the channel. Click the all notification bell. Also, talking about offshore real estate investing, May 13th, 14th, and 15th, we're going to be in the DR for the SSN Lifestyle Punta Cana Investors Forum. Oh, yes, this could be the last one, but will it be? I don't know. Because we are going to be in a situation, what I believe, again, we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. Let's just make things very, very simple. Just like when you put up barriers such as tariffs against another country, that means it's going to cost citizens more money. That also means that it could cost citizens more money for tourism. Now, in the case of American citizens, which 80% of them are living paycheck to paycheck during the course of a month, you already have a problem. 80% of people, their vacation time is pretty much not going to happen. So if you have 80% out of, I'll be generous, 200, we have 350 million people, but 350 million people don't work. First of all, the workforce is under 200 million. So now you have to start thinking there's a statistic within a statistic. How many workers are there? I don't know. Myself, I think 175 to 195. Some would say 225 to 250, but I'm on the 175 to 195 train. So if you have 80% out of the 175, or I'll use 200,000, all right, 200 million. If you have 80% of the 200 million, which makes 160 million, are living paycheck to paycheck, then the other 40 million are the only ones that are left that may even consider going on vacation. 40 million is still alive. So I don't know the percentage of Americans. Now this would be the statistics class. How many Americans go to DR every year? All right, 60% of 8.5 million is 4.8 million. 4.8 million. So if we have 40 million and a little more than 10% go to DR, now you're going to have to understand that was last year when it was 70 to 78% of people living paycheck to paycheck. Now we're at 80 to 85%. So now, and again, there's no statistics on the 80 to 85%. I'm guessing since last year, the tariffs have increased the prices for everything. Not everything, but a lot of things have increased. Inflation is still level or going up. So either way, you're paying more. So therefore, there's more people that are in the not living paycheck to paycheck role. So if we have 40 million and you got 4.8 last year, and you're having financial difficulties by adding another 5 to 10 million people, now all of a sudden you start going, well, wait a minute, there's probably not going to be 4.5 million. There might only be 3.5 or 3 million. Airfare already costs more, so that's a negative. So if you go down to 3 million and you already have hundreds of thousands of people that have invested over there, and now you have new projects that have broken ground and they started building like their first floor, and they have phases and they can't sell their phases and they have no money coming in. And that's part of how they finance getting this thing built. That puts things in jeopardy. This also puts things in jeopardy for all those people who bought in the last 5 years. Then last year, they start finding out, oh, wait a minute, I only get 30% occupancy here. Wait a minute, I only get 20% occupancy here. Wait a minute, I get 50% occupancy, but I have a loan, so I made no money. All these people start finding out, oh my God, it rained all in November and I hardly had anybody coming here. And I barely made any money in the month of November. All this comes to haunt, and now these people are putting their units up for sale. Now there's a lot of units up for sale. The people that have their units up for sale, I'm on my phone. There's a penthouse condominium that came up in Punta Cana for $250,000, and it's 1,200 square feet. And you can see water. I was like, this can't be right. I was like, this is great, because now they're selling those same units for over 300 grand for pre-construction. But my point I'm trying to make is the reason why this is significant is because the people who now bought 2, 3, 5 years ago, 6 years, 7 years ago, they understand, as real estate people do, if the prices aren't going up and you have equity and it's an actual second home, what are you going to do? You're going to try and sell. So there's going to be a low. So this is why I had to have the directive of now, remember when we first started out, up until this last 6 months, when I said, you have to consider you can't do the 250 rule anymore. You can't go from 0 to 250 to buy something in DR. You have to buy at 150 or less now. You can't go higher than that, because you're going to have a problem trying to reach the 1.1% if you do. There's hardly any places right now, because as I was saying earlier, me and Jonay had a nice little discussion earlier today via WhatsApp. Jonay says Greece, Italy, the UK, Portugal, Dominican Republic, and Thailand have increased tourist taxes in 2025. Exactly. That's why the airfare at Punta Cana, it's $75 to $100 each way. So you cannot get an airfare cheaper than $175 round trip, because they've already added $175 round trip onto the price. So if the airlines just add $100 each, you're at $375 round trip. And that's going to be from the East Coast. Best case scenario. Never mind if you have to pay $450 a person. This is going down right now as we speak. So that's why there's going to be less tourists going there, not to mention. So this is going to cause an effect. And it's a twofold effect. So here's what on the other side. Now, so if you are one of the lucky people who bought now and it's 150 or less, you can buy today, 150 or less. And now the people who have theirs built and they start reducing their prices, which is fine. On the other side of the fence is when you're going to look, I'll give it this way. Let's say it's 2029, right? All those people who's had theirs built in 2022, 2023, 2020, Your units are going to be 9, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. They're not going to be looking pristine. Now, when the people have their deliveries in 2028, 2029, and the economy gets back on its feet and starts going up again, people who bought their things now, the values are going to be greatly enhanced during that time frame, and you're going to build a lot of equity. So that's what's going to happen. All right. So that's why you can't sleep. Even though it's not advantageous potentially to do short-term rentals if it was built like now, but in 3 years, 3.5, 4 years, everything's going to work out. It always does. All right. So keep that in mind. Just giving you guys a heads up. The more people that put their property for sale, the better for my cash inflow. Basically, less supply to compete with me. That formula always works as long as you aren't upside down with the loan. Exactly. That's exactly right. He's in it. You got to be in it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I was saying, you got to be in it to win it. He owns real estate. He bought it a while ago. All of it, right? All of them. Price is from a long time ago. All right. So you win. You lose when you buy at the top and then you have to wait 3, 4, 5 years. Meanwhile, the people who bought on the other side and at the right price, I should say the right price, they get to win because they don't need 100% or 90% or 80% or 70% or 65% occupancy. They just need 14, 12 to 15 days a month rent, 2 weeks or less. Well, seven days to 2 weeks is all they need. And they're still going to make a profit in double digits. That's what you want. And that's the only way is buying low. So if somebody comes out right now and says, oh, I'm going to buy one of these places, one of these villas for $390,000, I'm like, okay, but you're going to put yourself at risk because are you really going to get those people now? That's what's going to happen. Are you going to have enough? You're going to have tourists that come with 4 or 5 deep? I don't think so. They're going to start reducing how many people's coming if everybody has to pay $500 round trip, $3,000 for 5 people to go. And you still haven't even gotten your accommodations yet that holds 5 people. And then you bought something for $390,000. I've seen some of those cross my desk and you're not getting $390 per night because there's a whole bunch of places that's up for rent. 6,600 to be exact in the La Altagracia area. That's available. It shouldn't be, it's not that's how many units there are is what I should say. Not all units are available is what I'm trying to say. There's 6,600 just in Cap Cana, Punta Cana, Verone area. And Macau and all that is crazy. The more people that put their property for sale, yes, exactly. I had to leave that up there. That is great right there. EV plays some good news, Eric. Check this out. Florida Tech next to open new facility in Punta Cana. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Hold on a second. I don't know what you mean. Give me what FL stands for. Let me see who that is. FL. Who's that? FL. Aircraft maintenance? Yes, I've heard about that, if that's who that is. Yeah. Okay. Aircraft maintenance. Yeah. The first one. The first one apparently is coming. Base maintenance service for Airbus and Boeing 737 aircraft. Yep. I've heard about it. That came out like 3, 4 months ago. Yes. Yes. That's good news. That's going to be the first one. And I don't know what that means, but that I'm waiting. It's going to be very interesting. Let's just put it that way. That's aircraft. It means more carriers, more flights. No, that's not what it means to me. Okay, so here's how flights work. Flights only work if you have demand for the flights. So it doesn't matter that they have the maintenance service here. So this is my point that I was trying to make. If we're going to have less tourists in I shouldn't say less. We're going to have around the same tourist numbers that we had last year, which means there's no increase. So if we have the same tourist numbers, I don't really care if there's an extra 20, 30, 50, 60, 100 flights if you have the same number, right? So that's cute, but in reality, that doesn't mean more uh, tenants, short-term renters, tourist numbers, tourist dollars. That doesn't mean they go up. That just means it stays the same. And then meanwhile, you're adding more facilities, more places to live on the island, or more places for tourism on the island without more tourists coming. That is what's going to happen. You're going to have the same amount of tourists coming, but you've added now, it was 5,800 units on Airbnb in La Altagracia. They added 800 in the last 6 months. By the end of this year, there's going to be probably another 1,000. Oceana should be coming online for sure. Ocean Bay, I would hope they would be coming online. La Reserva is coming online just in Bavaro area. Never mind Cap Cana and all the other places. There's going to be Jardines is going to have some coming online. We're going to be talking about probably 2,000 units just in Punta Cana coming online. By eBay probably is going to have a few hundred. So we're talking about a significant amount of units are going to come online this year in the next 8 months, 6 months, 7 months. And we don't have more tourists. So that's going to be a problem. So more aircraft's not going to be the thing. We need more tourists. And unfortunately, more USA and Canadian tourists, which is 60% of the tourist numbers, aren't coming. They aren't coming. And look, first of all, if the flight lands in America and you have to get off in America through immigration, that's the problem. EV Place, I don't know if people are telling you some fantasy lands. Cheaper airfare, that's more tourist, in my opinion. I'm not talking about occupancy and units. Yes, but you don't have cheaper airfares, what I'm trying to say. You can go look it up for yourself, and because again, I just booked airfare over the DR. And again, I was wondering, I was like, out of ATL, 400 plus round trip. ATL, this is 14, 21 days in advance. There is no more 99, 89, 109 each way from ATL. No, them days are over. 180, yes. 163, yes. Low season, but low season, nobody's coming. You're not going to improve in low seasons. You're just going to have the same numbers as before, maybe 10,000 more, 10,000 less. You're not going to have the 50,000, 60, 100,000 more. So that's not going to help you. So the tourist numbers, cheaper airfares, you'll be able to see this year, EV Place, if you can find them. I don't think there's cheaper airfares. I can't find them. They're not cheaper than before. And so if cheaper airfares come, we're going to find out how many tourists come, but the numbers aren't going to lie at the end of the year. And I'm pretty sure the number is going to be 8.5 by air, and cruise is going to have a record. So now cruise, can it get 3 millions or 11.5? Can cruise get 3,000,005? So they can have a record for tourist numbers at 12. But I don't really care about cruise. That they're going to have millions of a cruise. So the point is, you can have cheaper. You can have cheaper, but are you going to have more people coming when you can't? When you have 80% of your population living paycheck to paycheck, 60% of tourists are from Canada and America. They're not from Colombia. They're not from Venezuela. They're not from Costa Rica. They're not from the EU. It'd be a different story if it was from a country that's insulated, so to speak, and have money for tourism. America and Canada are their 60% of your tourist numbers. And that is a problem. And already they've dropped. So if they do anything like what happened in the month of February, where you had like a 20% drop and a 23% drop, I can't remember the countries. If that's the case, then that means we won't even meet 2024 numbers. Yep. Tamara Larry, exactly. This would post-retirement travel. Everything's up. Everything's up, man. It doesn't matter. Even out of Florida, go look. Even out of Miami. But it's because the taxes at Punta Cana Airport went up. Like I said, they're like $100. Like it's $100 coming in, and I think it's 75 when you leave. And then when the airplane, now think about this. So it's 100 coming in, 75 when you leave. ATL Airport, when you land, they charge you airport taxes. So of course they're probably going to be cheaper, but let's just say that's $30, $40. I don't know what it is. I'll look at my ticket this time on the returns. But the thing is, that's $130 easily. Or, well, we're already at 175. So you add on 30 to land. So I guess we're at 200. So we're at 200. So this explains why the airfare is $350 round trip. It's simple. The numbers don't lie. This is why I love math. You can't do $99 each way to DR anymore. You can't do 250 round trips unless you're just doing a loss leader for about 5 seats or something, or 10 seats. You can't do it. That's people riding for free. So you'd have to fill up the plane and then hope everybody else pays the 350 to 450 and 550 and brings on a bag or two and pays for that. I mean, that's high risk though. Very high risk. I got your point, Eric. High prices now, but new service base might open new, cheaper carriers. At least they invest in infrastructure a little bit. See, this is all wishful thinking, man. It's not going to happen. Let me ask you something. First of all, in order to get cheaper flights, you're going to need airlines out of the Dominican Republic to fly into the United States for the cheaper flights. But the problem is Dominican Republic going to give their own carriers less than $100 taxes incoming and less than $75 going out? Because if the answer is no, then that means they don't have an advantage. Thus, airfare prices are all going to be the same, give or take 20, $30. On the cheap side, 20, $30. They're all going to be within the same. Or whoever wants to compete that way. Like Frontier, JetBlue, and Spirit, their airfares may be $20, $30, $40 cheaper, but everybody knows they're going to charge you for bags. Whereas the other airlines just goes $550 round trip. And we're still going to charge you for bags. So you can ride them guys, fine. We'll get everybody else because 60% of the population from Canada and US are going to take US carriers. So they win by default. They'll be like, all right, so what if you take 600 people a day to DR, Spirit, and Frontier? We don't care about that. There's 100,000 people coming per week, so you can take them. We're going to stick with the 550 plan and up and profit. That's what they're going to do. And then what's going to end up happening, people are going to go, I don't want to pay 550 a person. I don't want to pay 600 a person. I'll go somewhere else. And what's going to be cheaper? Obviously, Mexico. Hell, you can fly to South America. Colombia or something for less than that round trip. That's where the problem's going to come in. Just saying. At least invest in infrastructure a little bit. Yeah, your infrastructure, you are right. I mean, the maintenance is going to, the maintenance aircraft, certain people are going to get paid nicely. But that's not going to be thousands of people. It's probably not even going to be 100. So, I mean, and it's on the airport, it's at the airport or their sub terminal. That doesn't really do anything. It's not outside. It's not in the tourist zone where you're doing something to attract more people to the island. It doesn't do anything. It's nice to have as a, promo, but you're not getting more tourists from it, and it's not making things cheaper. So that's where we are. But anyhow, I didn't want to get into that too much, but this has to do with tonight's topic because, again, wishful thinking is going to get a lot of investors buying things above what they should be paying. And that's where the problem comes in. Tamara Larry says, I'm flying from Fort Lauderdale. It's not cheap anymore just compared to December 2024. Exactly. Because they raised the taxes up. You can't get away from it. There's no way. Even that's why if you look at Miami, even Orlando used to be one of those pseudo cheap places to Dominican Republic. Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami were the cheapest places to leave in Florida. And now they're not so cheap anymore. Used to be able to do like 220 or 250 round trip. Them days are over, I think. Really over. Unless, again, unless you want to go to Santo Domingo, which their taxes are probably a little less. But to me, I did the ride one time just to see how that bus goes for like $10. That was cool. But it was 2 hours and some odd minutes before I got over to El Dorado Town Center in Los Corrales. But food, drinks, stop. It was cool, but 2.5 hours. So we spend an extra hour because we were having the bus, and an extra hour and a half because we didn't land at Punta Cana Airport. Ain't nobody going nowhere with that bird flu hitting and spreading like a champ. Exactly. And guess in charge of HSS invest in the gas. Oh, sheesh. I know that this is the other things. And again, every investor has to be worried about this now. Okay, first of all, Dominican citizens leaving the United States, coming to DR, and then going back to America, getting detained. How many is going to be detained? You're going to have to worry about somebody hemming you up. You have a visa. You have a green card. All this. You're getting hemmed up. Are you coming? You going to take that risk? I don't think so. Anybody else? You think Canadians who have, or any other people that have to land in America coming back through America through immigration, you think they're going to be good? I don't think so either. This is why this whole thing is messing up an ecosystem that people do not realize. Here we go. I used to fly New York City to Fort Lauderdale for 70 Spirit round trip 15 years ago. Exactly. I was getting ready to say, man. I was like, wait a minute, you can't do that. I was going to pull it up right now. Now I see 15 years ago. That's funny. Yeah, you're right, man. You are exactly right. I remember when they had flights, these specials when they first came out. Obviously, they're losing money. $15 for the first 10 seats or something. One way, each way, $19 if you, yeah. Yeah. Spirit was doing the damn thing at first when it came out. Just like Southwest used to be doing their damn thing, and then Frontier's doing their damn thing, then JetBlue at one time was doing their damn thing. But in the business of airlines, you have to make money. And you can't do these special deals because if nobody shows up for that flight, you done burned a whole bunch of fuel money out the window. And just because you wanted to give up cheap flights for the first 10 seats or first 20, and then nobody bought the rest. Or a few people bought the rest as prices rose to make up the difference. But we'll see. All right. But I'm not going to be on here too long, especially tonight. 1 hour, 49 minutes. I want to thank everybody for being here. This is going to be short and sweet. I can't never remember the title that I was going to have on these videos. It's not the one that's up on YouTube. It's going to be a different title. It was... you're something along the lines, you're going to have to worry. I'm going to change it afterwards. And something like you were going to have to worry about your financial life, but not you, because you guys are on top of it. And I thank you so much for listening. And I love these discussions that we have because the points of view, people do have several different points of views. Tamarleri, wow, I didn't know that. That's why I was always flying into Las Americas and then drive the 2 hours to Punta Cana Airport is too gringo for me. I'm not driving in the DR ever. People are like, you get a car? Never. Won't happen. No, it won't happen. I'll get in somebody else's ride. I'll take the Uber. I'm just going straight, not on the freeway too much, just straight to where I need to go. All right? Because it's dangerous out there. That's all I know. But yeah, it's not cheap anymore, guys. It's a wrap. It is a wrap flying over there. And that's why there's been a downturn in tourist numbers. It's twofold. It's because of the tariffs, but it's also because of it costs more to fly. So that's why in February the numbers went down. March the numbers went down for airfare. April the numbers I would suspect are still going to be down. Even they need 995,000 passengers just or somewhere in their ballpark just to equal the same amount of passengers after the first 4 months than last year. They were 2.3 million the first quarter this year. They were 3.4 million air passengers first quarter 2024. They are 1 million. Not, it was 900, so I might have the numbers off, the point number off, but it's 900,050. Let's just put it easily round down. 950,000 short. Now, last year, Holy Week, Easter was in March. So this year, the numbers in April should be hopefully 900. But if they're going to break the record, they have to go over 1 million. The odds of that happening is pretty slim. So if they get up to 1 million by air, which again, I'd be shocked because of the people being detained and other things, you don't want to land in America. Hell, it's crazy what's going on. So again, this is the problems. You can't go back. You can't go back. So that's where we go. Okay, now I'm going to get into something that you're not going to like. I haven't even made the video for this yet because I can't do it. Tamarleri, wow. Yeah, there we go. Hurricane season is coming. If anyone think it's not going to be brutal, then they are an alternate reality. I know, man. I know. But let's look in the future. They're still working on new plane designs, engines, efficiencies, etc. It doesn't matter, EV Place. The reason why it's not going to matter is if it's going to cost me, if for instance, I don't know what Santo Domingo, Santiago, Puerto Plata, I don't Sosúa and Puerto Plata, their airports, I don't know how much their fees are. But if you're coming to Punta Cana, the fees will not go down. So if it's around 175 to land, 100 to land and 75 to leave, if that's what it costs now, do you know what it's going to cost next year after they add that aircraft maintenance center over there? So now let's just say it's 200. And the airlines haven't even added their trip tick charge on there yet. So if they go, okay, we need to make $250 a person, you're looking at $450. It's not coming down unless there's an unless, which is not going to happen. I don't think. You would have to have airline carriers going to America. That's the only way. And since there's hardly any airline carriers that's large enough to go there like a great service, such as, 4 times a week, leaving from such and such spot, connecting through one place, have a 2-hour layover or an hour and a half with a 2-hour layover, and then go to DR to pick up more passengers potentially. You need a Dominican airline to do that to take advantage of the open skies. Well, how many of those do you have? And they're not taking advantage of it as we speak right now, which they can. And they're not. It costs a lot of money. That's the problem. So we can look at the future, because I have it up right here, and the efficiency is going to go up, yes, where the planes are going to get more efficient. But that's not going to bring the cost down because it's not based on the gas. It's based on the taxes. So we will see. Yeah, you can forget about that, man. Forget about it. I heard rumors about another airport near Punta Cana, but just rumors. It's all rumors, man. Those are old rumors. There was supposed to be an airport that got approved by the government before Abinate. They approved it where they can build an airport somewhere north of or west of Macau, near Michis, which would have changed, well, potentially changed things, but it got shut down. It can't happen. The Rainier family and the other families said no, no, and the government said no, no. And so it's never going to happen. That rumor came out in 2021 because it was approved. Just like Moon Palace being able to do what, 20 floors? That was approved by the previous government. And that's why Moon Palace actually was able to get it still built, but nothing else can do 20. No, nothing else can go over 4 or 5 floors right now. So that's what we're looking at. Same thing, man. Same thing. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. That would have, and it ends up being, it's for the best. Because if there's a slowdown for 1, 2, or 3 years, and you don't have the tourist numbers, then it would have been a flop, so to speak. So you want to have it where there's a lot of tourists, record-breaking numbers, like what's been happening for 5 years. You had 5 years. 5 freaking years. And instead of, and this is one of my pet peeves, they actually had 7 years, not 5, 7. They had 7 years with this rise to make decisions. And all they did was open skies agreement. Like, I'm like, okay, great. That's nice. But there's no record anywhere when open skies agreement has happened that airfares went down. You can go look around the globe. It's never went down. It's always been level or higher. There's no down. That's always been the rumor for open skies agreements. And it turns out no. So all this time, the electrical grid, the roads, the highways, the sewer systems, the water treatment plants, which does not exist, all that was supposed to be built. But what did they do? They did what we do here in America. Tax cuts, tax breaks for the wealthy, which turned into comfort tool. So all these projects, all these developers, they didn't have to pay import taxes, which would have helped the country for their infrastructure. They didn't have to pay taxes on when they're buying and selling stuff, and they're now all of a sudden now they don't have infrastructure money. So you're building all these projects needing electricity, water, and whatever, and nothing's going to be built, which is where we're at right now. 7 years. So these are the type of things, like when you say Punta Cana Village, why do things cost more? Because they have their own little treatment centers and waters and a bunch of little things. Vista Cana, they went that route too. They said, we're going to build our treatment plants in here, right? So again, this is the type of stuff that if you're going to do something, this is what you have to do, because the government's not going to do it. That's the whole problem. They don't, and the citizens don't make enough money to pay the taxes. It's going to be substantial. So there you go. There's a new project called Jardines del Prado, up going towards Larimar. Condos were starting at 53K. Never heard of this one. And furthermore, again, you know, it's going to be on the outskirts of town a little ways. Again, I will have to devote 1 or 2 videos to this. I have seen this time and time again. I like that Blue Marlin. That's the one. Man, I'm waiting to see what Blue Marlin does. I like the developers of Blue Marlin. I like those guys. We met with them. We talked with them. They invited us to their little shindig And what he was saying was, man, awesome. So I'm wanting to see, hey, EV place, is there any Blue Marlin? Well, I know the one in Los Corrales area. I know that's done, but they were going to have another one downtown. So do you know if they finished that? I don't even know what the name of it is, or near downtown. He said it was uh, maybe a half a kilometer from downtown, but I don't know exactly where it is. But that would seem like uh, the way they design and build. I liked what they did with the first project, even though all it was a pool and all that. But still, the prices were right. I don't know what they are now, but this 53K by Jardines. I got to see some of Jardines' products because we're going to be there. Go get your tickets at ssnlifestyle.com or stopstrugglingnow.com. May 13, 14, 15. Get your tickets now. They're going to be $450, $500 round trip, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to tell you right now. All right. So get your tickets now because after today or tomorrow or no, Monday, after this weekend, if you don't get your tickets, they're going to go up, because you'll be within 7 days. So don't do that. All right. Just keep that in mind. So come join us because we're going to go check out some of this Jardines property. They got a basketball court at their project. I haven't been over there in 5 years. So I want to see what's happened in 5 years because I know what it looked like 5 years ago. I have video of what it looked like. I didn't even want to post it. I have video of what the street looked like going down to Christopher. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm in Blue Marlin 2. Hopefully it will happen this month. We can meet in DR if that happens. Is Blue Marlin 2 in Los Corrales? Or is that the one that's near downtown? Because I never knew which one I was even at that they did the opening for. So, but anyhow, it's a subject matter that's very, I don't call it subjective. I call it the numbers. Because in no circumstance can you have less travelers and your values go up. Okay, so it is Los Corrales. That must be the one I went to. So it only has a pool, right? And you park on the bottom floor. And then the condos start on the second floor. So people park underneath and the condos are on the second floor. It had a pool. It didn't even have nothing else, as I recall. And it had, let me see, one building when you come in on the left, two more buildings that were going this way. I think that was it. It was like, if I remember right, something like this, L straight ahead and then two buildings going sideways, maybe three. I can't really remember. We went there and it was evening time. And at the time, it was just brand new, but they finished. And I guess people moved in there. I just never been back. But it's not near 3-minute walk to the beach or 4-minute walk to the beach, though. That's the thing. It's more like, I don't know, condos with a pool. And the prices were inexpensive, naturally. Not that many amenities, as I recall. In fact, I don't recall, like I said, seeing anything but a pool over there. Or it's kind of, I don't want to really say it's a pool, but with the amount of condos I saw, it was a small pool. Maybe they had more than one. But we'll see. We'll see. But, oh, by the way, I got to talk about this. Joe Nay, I sent him some pictures today. So I went to Airbnb today and I opened it up. And in Punta Cana, I show a certain area. The area was basically right before you get downtown coming from the airport. And it went up to probably White Sands area out to the water. All it tells you is plus 1,000 units. That's what it says, right? So right now, May 12th through the 16th, 1,000 units. Okay. Right now, that's what's available. Plus 1,000 plus units are available. So what I did was I went to each section and I took a screenshot. And I took screenshots. I mentioned this earlier. I took screenshots of where I normally stay at, around the Coral Village, because it's right there by La Bruja. It's a 5-minute walk to the beach. Everything's right there. Restaurant. grocery stores, music, all that is all within 150 yards. Simple. All right. So the one bedrooms for the 4 nights, $250, 275, 300, all in. That includes the Airbnb fee. So in my mind, that just means $50 per night to me, because with Airbnb fees, I don't know how much they are, but I'm pretty sure probably they're charging $10 per night. That's going to be coming off of the people, you know, that's they're going to be their fee add on. So that would be 200 plus their fee, or 175 plus their fee, which means less than $50 per night. That's in Los Corrales right now at Coral Village, which 1 and 2, which were built 4 years ago, 3 years ago. They have a lot of wear and tear because they have over 60% to 70% occupancy rate, because people over there were lucky enough to buy them for 79 grand for a 1 bedroom, or 69 grand, and 99 grand for a 2 bedroom, 109, in 2021, 2022, or whatever. So, but there's a lot of wear and tear, quite frankly. But there's several units available for, like I say, 250, 260, 1 bedrooms for 4 nights. Okay. So then I went over to Vista Cana, which has the man-made beaches, which has a restaurant, which has a beach club. But again, we're talking about water stuff, swimming pools and things like that. Again, I like having those amenities, but that's not like my favorite stuff. But okay, there's amenities there. But what isn't there? What isn't there is shopping up the street, grocery store, mini mart, music, casino, none of that's on site. So all you have is water activity, and sure, you have a restaurant, but see, a restaurant in Los Corrales is still a restaurant in Vista Cana. And once you're in Vista Cana, if you leave, you're going to need a car, pretty much. And you're going to have to leave to go everywhere. If you want to go to the beach, you got to leave. It's simple. I mean, same thing. Whereas in Los Corrales, they have stores. They have everything there. It's built for tourists, basically. So there's a difference. So right now, guess how much it costs to stay at Panorama Lake or inside Vista Cana? $230, $250 at Panorama Lake, $230, $250, $227, whatever it was. Same price as staying at Coral Village. And they're newer than Coral Village. They were just built last year, finished last year. Then we go over to Jardines, Christopher. They also have $200, $230, $250. And even if you want to stay at Christopher, you can stay 4 nights at Christopher. They have stuff for $157 for their 1 bedrooms. Now remember, their condos, their 1 bedrooms cost $60,000, $50,000. And they're $157, $175, $200. And they're across the street from Jardines. There's some that are more, obviously, but you can still 1 bedroom. So $200 if you want to stay in that section of town, but you're going to need a car. But there at Jardines, they have a shuttle. So the big $1 million question is, where does their shuttle go? And their shuttle is free. So now, even though you don't get to walk outside and there's a restaurant like 50 feet away or 100 feet away, and there's now if you want to go to the beach, the shuttle might go there, but you're going to have to go on the shuttle time, arrival and return. So now it's a weird dynamic where that area of town, the reason why the condos are going to be cheaper or the villas are going to be cheaper is because the amenities, you're in that area. You leave, you need to get Uber or you have to have a car. There's just no way around it. You're not walking to the beach, nor are you doing that from Vista Cana if the beach is your thing, which again, Not really my thing, but I just like being by it so I can go down to the beach. It makes it cool. Um, and having a grocery store and all that stuff. I like that too, where I can just walk less than 100 yards down and I got the grocery store. We're cool. These are the things you need. Vista Kana doesn't have a grocery store yet. Once they have their grocery store, now all of a sudden you start having these elements of you don't have to leave. You have your man-made beaches, you have restaurants, you have bars, golf, and nothing else right now. But at least if you have a grocery store and some other things, clothing stores and whatever else, all of a sudden that changes the whole dynamics. You don't have to leave Vista Common unless you want to go to the real beach because they have a beach, right? So all these things come into play. And that's why the prices right now are the same. And it's a good thing that the prices could potentially, if you have a downsized downturn in tourists, then the prices stay the same for the next 2-3 years. And that's why you can't buy stuff out of range. You can't just go, I'm just going to buy this for 250,000, 300,000, 400,000 in today's money. You can't do that because you're going to have a hard time. If it doesn't take off and it ends up being where this is a repeat of 2006, 7, 8. And like I told you guys before, a lady bought a $264,000 condo in Los Corrales in 2006 or 7 across the street from the beach. And she said she was trying to sell it for just getting her money back. And this is 2020. So for, I don't know, 10, 12 years, she says, you know what? I've been wanting to get my money back because when it came to that slowdown, the slowdown, when it happened after 2008, 2009, 2010, she paid 264 before the slowdown. Tourists weren't coming. She was charging, I'm literally staying across the street, $50 per night from the beach when I stayed there in 2020. But then starting in 2020, 2021, all of a sudden, I think she sold it probably in 2021 because now it started being hot again. So she got her 264. And then for the previous 12 years or so, she was renting at a low rate, but at least getting some revenue in. But it's because tourism went down because it was a problem in America. And then once it got hot in the late 2010s, 2018, 2017 record, 2019 record tourism, now we're going. So now it started getting hot again. So now the real estate started moving up again. But there's these situations that happen that people don't realize, these cycles. And I have a fear of it being in a cycle where we have this slowdown. We're going to be in that again. Yes, bottom floor parking, but we were talking about 2 penthouses under $60K each with ocean view. That is sick. That we can get on board with. That is sick right there. That is sick. That is a great deal. Yeah, that's the funny. Yeah. When we went to the party and they started telling us the prices, I was like, where? And they go, we're sold out. I said, of course you are. Because they had crazy prices. I didn't remember the 60K part, but it was crazy. Crazy low prices. And this is 2020. I want to say this was 2023. 2023. Oh, that's when it was built. So it was probably for sale in 2020 or 2019. Yeah, it was finished because we were at the party when it was finished, delivered. So yeah, that's crazy. 60K. Oh, and by the way, I want to see this ocean view from that distance if it's where I think it is. I want to see that. You'd have to be on the 6th floor, I think. Well, maybe 6th floor from that distance. Or if you can see in that there's a path down one of the streets you could possibly see too. It seems far away to have ocean view, but that would be spectacular. We need pictures, EV play. Oh, can't do pictures. All right, I'm going to run, ladies and gentlemen. It's 2 hours, 14 minutes. I want to thank everybody for being there. I didn't mean to get sidetracked on the Los Corrales and talking about all that because a lot of people get depressed when you start telling them news that's not to their liking. But it's not news not to your liking. It's news that you can use to your advantage when you know something's going to happen. And like EV Place is saying he bought this for 60K, then guess what? He's in the perfect He's in the perfect thing because his 2-bedroom penthouses, he can rent those out. Let's say right now, everybody in the neighborhood, like Coral Village has a 2-bedroom and there's renting for like, I think it was 350 was like the lowest one, right? For the 4 nights. That falls in line. That's $70. Well, there's Airbnb fees. So let's just call it $60. Well, if you buy a penthouse for 60 and you can get $60 per night, that's our 0.1%. That means he can possibly get 10% or more, depending on how he handles his management. If he's doing it himself, or he's have to get somebody 25 to 30%, or what the situation is. Does he have a mortgage? It all depends. But he could be in double digits every year, starting from a low side. Imagine when tourist numbers come back and all of a sudden you start breaking records in tourist numbers again. Imagine what would happen then. Imagine. 1 bedroom, but still a penthouse. Okay, 1 bedroom penthouse is still good. But again, you're going to be getting the 250 to 350 a night range. I don't know really. Ocean View does help. If you have Ocean View, that's a little cachet. So, no mortgage self-management. That's good. So then there, well, you don't have to even give up 10% or 5 or 15. That's great. So you'd be able to rent 4 nights for 240. I don't see a problem. And then I don't know the Airbnb fees. And I haven't booked my hotel. Otherwise, I would tell you what the Airbnb fee was because they put it on there. But I do know this. Here's the thing that works when it comes to anything. When you rent out something, you lose. You lose once the date goes by. So here's one of the things about when you have a lot of occupancy is when you have 20 units available for the 12th through the 16th in the building. And now it gets to be like 5 days before people start reducing their prices. It's dynamic pricing. Because there's a person right at Coral Village that was like 237 or 217. There's other people that was like 240, 250. They're all available. Nobody's booking them up because it's in May. So somebody's going to pull a trigger and they're going to go, all right, man, I just want like $175. I want something. I'll just 35 a night, 40 a night. I want something. So there's going to be something down there that's going to be like, I'd be willing to bet you after this weekend, there's going to be some things that's going to go down and they're going to take $10 off per night and they're going to be under 200 for the 4 nights. I guarantee you with the Airbnb fee. I guarantee you there's too many units available. And there's a whole bunch of units available in Los Corrales. And if you throw in El Cordacito, then it's off the charts. So if I wanted to stay in El Cordacito, then yeah, we're going to find stuff under 200, which is crazy. But all they're going to, it's still a nice neighborhood, but I like staying on the La Bruja side. No mortgage self, yes, like cars, lost value in time, exactly. Can't do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you smash that like button on the way out. I love you guys very much. I appreciate your support. Come join us, Punta Cana Investors Forum, May 13th, 14th, and 15th. Yes, we see a lawyer. Yes, we go see projects, and they're pre-construction, just so you can see the lay of the land, find out where things are. We're going there. All right, we're going over to this neighborhood that's, I'll just say, it's going to be gentrified later on. I can tell it still is in the process right now. So it's going to be special, but not now, but 5 years, 6 years, something like that. All right, if you got the time and you don't mind spending a little bit of money, you're going to come out ahead. Especially once I find out about this free shuttle. I need to find out how legit, what their schedules are, where's the drop-off, pickup points, what time of day, because all that matters. If you don't have a van that can take me downtown, starting at around 2 shifts, 4 p.m. or every hour, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and pick us up until midnight, then it's pointless. If the van says, well, we don't pick up anybody past 9 p.m., then that means you can't drop off a lot of people and then come get them. Now they're going to be like stranded, so to speak. So now they're going, man, I got to be taking Uber or I got to have a car. What's the point? versus why didn't I just stay downtown? See, that's the problem that starts coming up. Once people realize, they're like, man, I could have just stayed downtown right here. If I wanted, I could have been gone to the mall, don't have to, and I can price. Talk, you need amenities, ladies and gentlemen. You have to differentiate yourself somehow, make sure it works. So that's why you're going to have to say, well, we're coming back at midnight to pick you up. That's the last one. So that gives people the first round at Coco Bongo. That gives people dinner in the sky. It gives people a lot of different things that they can be doing. Yeah, you're not going to be able to hang at the nightclub until 2, 3 in the morning, but hey, Uber then. But the point is, you want to make sure if you're going to be out of the normal tourist area, you want to be able to bring them. The best thing I can tell you is Vino Bello was in a commercial area outside of town at Napa. The one thing they did was they got the van. And they have amenities, like I said, the bowling alley, the game room with the pool table, bowling alley, and they have a lounge in there with drinks and snacks and bars and food, all in this one building. You have pools, you have a wine cave for wine tasting, you have a spa, you have wine vineyards, you have photo ops, you have all this stuff. So now people were like, hell yeah, I'm staying out here at this place, jacuzzi tubs, nice spacious rooms. A 1 bedroom is 800 square feet, 1 bedroom. A 2 bedroom makes it 1,200 square feet with a lock off. So now you have separate adults, 4 people, adults in one side, adults in the other. Each has their own room, own key lock to their 2 bedroom lock off unit. Sweet if you want to do it that way. Or so now you have restaurants on site, chapel on site, fitness center on site. You got everything. So now people are like, hell yeah, I'm going to pay extra money because I got a nice place. It's a 5-star and I can hit this shuttle and they're going to pick us up at this spot at 7:30, this spot at 8:30, this spot at 9:30, this spot at 10:30. We're in Napa. 10:30 shuts down. Napa generally shuts down except for any nightclub activity. So it's perfect. People were like, hell yeah, we can go take the shuttle starting at 4 p.m. So everybody who wants to go early takes 4 p.m. They don't run all day, 4 p.m. because they assume you went wine tasting throughout the day. So 4 p.m. the shuttle starts, holds about 50, 60 people. So it never was ever full. There were people, 30 to 40 people maybe. They get dropped off downtown Napa. You can eat, drink, be merry for the next 5, 6 hours. Then you get back. Pick up. 9:30. You're on it. Pick up. 10:30. All right. Whoever doesn't get picked up after this next one, and that's it. You got to Uber back. But just that, people are paying always premium at Vino Bello. Always. And it was premium back then when they were on the outskirts of town, that people viewed them as being on the outskirts of town. No longer do they view them because stuff has been built up to them. But at the time, people were still paying ridiculous prices to stay at this 5-star type place. And now they still are. And now it's even more ridiculous. 2 bedrooms over $1,000 a night in a lot of cases. It's crazy. All right. Well, we got to go, ladies and gentlemen. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. And there's always something that's going to come up financially that you need to take advantage of. So do that. Pay attention to what the rich guys are doing. Pay attention to your finances. Get them reduced to make sure you have money to buy assets that pay you. Assets, ladies and gentlemen, not liabilities. And with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. As I said it twice. But just make sure you keep your head up. Keep moving. And I'm out.